What's going on, y'all? It is Friday, August 29th, and I'm up for another weekend of archery pronghorn. The spot that I normally go to on Fort Carson is closed today, of course, so I'm forced to, once again find a new spot to go check out. So I'm going to be heading all the way to the southern end of the Fort Carson training area, and kind of starting there and exploring some new territory and just scouting around and seeing what's going on down at that portion. So before I fully commit to a spot, I'm just going to kind of scout it a little bit. That way I'm not, hunting an area that has nothing in it once again. But the weather today is pretty nasty. I don't know if it's going to lift up, but on the, I can't even see the top of this mountain range that I'm going to be driving up to in order to get to where I need to go. And there's kind of like this little mistiness going around as well. So I don't know if this will burn off as the day goes on, but I guess we'll kind of have to see and just play it by ear. I don't know if it's going to have any effect on how the animals are moving, but I'm still probably going to get out and hunt regardless. Just maybe try to find some bedded down and maybe in a spot where I'm able to get close to them. But either way, it's always a good day whenever you're able to get out and hunt. So I'll keep on driving. I got about another 30 minutes to go, and I'll see y'all then. Well, I just got set up on top of this little hill underneath this juniper tree. Like I said earlier, the weather is pretty crappy right now. It kind of started to sprinkle on me a little bit, but it already stopped, so I think it's gonna be off and on the entire day like this. So if you can see, like, I can see for days in this spot, and even though I have this wide open area, I have not seen any pronghorn at all. All right, well, I went to check out the other side of this hill, and I'm pretty sure I just spooked a badger. I'm not entirely sure. It didn't look like one. Maybe it was just their summer coat. I'm not so sure I want to tangle with that thing, because I've heard they're pretty mean. They can roll over inside of their skin and attack whatever's trying to get them from the back. Jesus, there's a rabbit just jumped. I don't know. There was a rabbit just hanging out right here. I guess in my mind I had badger, and so whenever something like that happens, that's what you kind of initially think it is. But all right, I'm heading out. All right, so I just came out to this area, and I glassed up over this hill and found a good group of pronghorns, but it looks like they're all cows. They're not cows, they're all doe. So I'm gonna zoom in on my phone and take a video from there so that y'all can see a little bit better. But I don't think that, from what I can see, I mean, they're not very far away. They're just a few hundred yards, but there's not a buck in there. So let me try to zoom in on them real quick. So there's about like 8 or 9 of them in there, but I don't think there's a buck in there. If there is, then he is a very young buck. I can't imagine that one wouldn't be too far away from all these ladies. Alright, so as soon as I drove over this hill, I looked off to the right side from where those does were bedded down, and I found another group that's up and grazing, and there is a buck with that group. The only thing, I'm gonna have to kind of work quickly, maybe try to get up on the other side of this hill. There is a lot of trees and bushes and everything like that in the way, so hopefully I'll have a decent amount of cover to move around in. I just gotta try to not spook the does that are up over here and hope that they don't run. All right, well, I blew this one. Like I said, there was that one doe that was hanging out right over here by this tree when I was working my way up through all of this stuff right here, and none of the other ones could see me, so if she wouldn't have been there, I'd have probably still been working up closer. All these pronghorn with that buck, but they all just, I don't know if you can even see. Oh yeah, that's all them right there. So there's about 12 to 15 does, and there's just that one single buck. Look at them all just running away. So there's a lot of eyes that I needed to worry about, but oh well. On now, so that was probably my last chance for this morning. Just looking around, I don't see anything else around this whole entire spot, so I think it's safe to say I kind of blew this area out. But either way, it is what it is. It's like my second or third failed stalk. That was my fault. I just rushed it and got busted. But the wind was good, the cover was good. It was just too many eyes. So I'm gonna head back to the truck, and I'm gonna probably do a little bit of truck glassing on my way back, and then call it a morning. Maybe come back out this afternoon. It looks like the sun's starting to poke out now, so these things should be up and moving this evening. All right. All right, so I'm back out here later on in the day. It's 2:37 right now, and I drove up to where I last saw those pronghorn, and they're currently still sitting right here on the other side of the road. So, yep, there's the buck right there, and they got his does right there. So I'm gonna keep on driving a little bit and hope that they come back to this side. I'm gonna make my way up here, and if anything, just kind of hang out up on top of that hill and watch them, hope that they run back down this way. All right, so I just got set up. I drove over the hill that was out in front of me and kind of got myself blended in with some of these trees around, and I'm looking at them right now. It looks like they're gonna start working their way back across the road, but I'm not entirely sure. These things kind of have pretty erratic movements on them, but hopefully that's what their plan is. So it's still pretty early. It's 2:43 right now, and if they work their way onto the left side of this road that I drove in on, then they're fair game to go after. Right now they're all kind of just grazing a little bit. Ooh, okay. That's what I'm talking about. Let's hope they keep moving that way. Stay tuned. All right, they're getting closer and closer to that road right now, so eventually they're gonna cross through. So I'm gonna go back to the truck. It's just right here, and I'm gonna work my way down and around and try to get set up where I was at earlier. Truck's right behind here. I'm gonna go drop down below here, take this low ground, and work all the way out. Probably try to get down over there somewhere. I'm gonna try to move pretty quickly so that I can make sure I'm out in front of them without being spotted.
brush in between me and the pronghorn right now. I feel like they're gonna be working their way onto that wide open. But I found that little guy. Little bitty old rattlesnake. Dude's a baby. Just chilling there. So I tend to forget about those things up until I see them. And then I'm like, oh, that's right. There's rattlesnakes around. But let me I'm gonna leave him alone. And I'm gonna work my way up there a little bit. So I've got a bit of terrain in between me and them. They've got to be, about 600 yards on the other side of this hill over here. So I'm gonna keep this stuff in between me and them as much as I can and hope that they don't come down here a lot faster than what I'm anticipating. But you never really know. To this group of trees without being spotted. They're on that side of the hill. And I've got nothing out here. Luckily, they're feeding into the wind. I've got this bush in between me and them. They're about 300-400 yards on the other side. Oh man, it is squishy over here. Hopefully these prairie dogs don't mess up my hunt. They won't shut up. Alright, so I'm currently backed up against this giant juniper bush right here. The buck is bedded down about 200 yards back on the other side of this bush, just over the hill, and he's kind of facing, that way. I don't know where the does are at. They're probably farther back over here, not too far away from him, but I haven't got eyes on them yet. I'm just worried about him. Right now I'm kind of pinned down. It's 4 o'clock right now. I'm just gonna wait it out. Hopefully, since the wind changed, they're gonna come straight towards me because I am kind of upwind of them. I watched a video about a guy who was hunting these, and he said that pronghorn rely more on their eyes than their ears and nose. And so far, it seems to be true. The prairies give away nature's little sound alarms. I thought me and this guy were cool because he kind of quit making that noise for a while. I guess moved around and shifted my weight a little bit, and then he got back up and started making his stupid little noises. Well, we got some shit rolling in. This shit looks pretty bad. And oh my god, I just can't get a break. I'm gonna have to back out and head back to the truck to let this thing pass. Because I don't want to get soaked again, and I sure as hell don't want to get struck by lightning. But about 3 seconds before I turned the camera around, that lightning bolt struck right over there. And this storm is just moving straight towards us. That buck is still bedded there. He stood up for a little bit, but then he turned around and faced the other way. way so that the wind is at his back again. See if we can finally see a stain. Alright, so you kind of see that pronghorn right there. That's where he's bit it at. And then, yeah, you can see how dark it is back there. His does are probably 60 yards downwind of him, but they're kind of close, so I'm thinking that I could probably just go straight back and maybe keep this juniper brush in between us. I probably have about 20 minutes to make a decision, so I'm gonna back out and go back to the truck before all this shit comes in. That's insane. It's coming fast. Alright, well, there was no way for me to get out of there without spooking them, just because of how spaced out they were. But the buck is the one who saw me, and he kind of jumped up and turned around like he really didn't know what was going on. And so then the does, okay, oh, where y'all going? Don't go towards the road. Hopefully they just keep going that way. But eventually after he saw me, I remembered I had this white plastic bag in my pocket. After he spooked, he kind of turned around and watched me, and I threw this bag up, and he was like, seemed like he was kind of interested, like, wait, what? And I started, I don't know if this is the sound that they actually make, but I was just doing like, some kind of calls, and he perked up at it, and he probably came in another maybe 15-20 yards, and then I got up because of that right there. So it is what it is. I keep saying that a lot, but what else can you do? So I'm gonna head back to the truck just to weather out the storm, but it's coming quick and it looks like it's gonna be a nasty one. So I'll keep y'all updated after that thing passes over. Like, you can't even really see the mountains anymore. Well, except for right there, but whatever.
All right, y'all. So I was able to make it back to the truck before the heavy rain started coming in. I did get a little bit, drizzled on, but nothing too bad. The storm doesn't really look like it's gonna hang around too much. However, because I've put a lot of pressure on that small group of pronghorn, not just today, but this whole weekend and then last weekend as well, I think what I'm going to do is go check out another area. It's on the opposite side of the training area. I'm already seeing blue sky, so I'll give it, give this thing another 30 minutes before it's gone, and then hopefully by that time I'll be pulling up to this area that I want to go check out. Stick around, and we'll see y'all then. Well, I came out to this new spot that I had never been before, and found this glass and knob that I'm currently sitting at right now, and it gives me, pretty much a view over this whole entire area. But other than some ravens and some coyotes howling, that's pretty much the only action that's been going on here. I'm able to see for miles, but haven't glassed up any pronghorn yet. So it's 6:30 now. I got about an hour left. I kind of figured that if I haven't seen them now, then they're probably not here. I'm kind of just enjoying this view. It's a pretty stunning view. You can see the whole wide open area. You got all of Cheyenne Mountains back there, and especially with the sun setting down like that, it just looks pretty amazing. But that's probably going to do it for me today. You know, overall, pretty good day. You know, I guess getting having some failed stalks is better than not being able to stalk at all. So, you know, you always got to look at the bright side, especially whenever you're trying to archery pronghorn hunt, you know, with very little experience. Yeah, I think I'm going to hang out here for probably a little bit longer. Thanks for watching. Hopefully next time I'll be able to get a little more action. You know, we'll see how things go tomorrow with the weather. But other than that, y'all have a good one.